Ujai, Ujai, Ujai. Welcome to the Wisdom of the Nile show. And we're broadcasting from Bless FM. Oh, sorry. Yeah, is it better? My name is Nahipsa Nesibik, and I'm your host for tonight's show, alongside with Chumisi and Claudette. So we'll be hosting tonight's show, really, and hopefully, the information we'll be giving out will be useful to one-on-one. Anyway, we want to first acknowledge and honor and validate the divine world and our ancestors for our existence, and to acknowledge and honor and validate the Prophet Nebnaba, Lemusa Morendenebig, for dedicating his life to bringing the traditional culture to humanity. Now, the Herb Center itself is a not-for-profit organization, and it's promoting and preserving Kem's culture. Now, Nebnaba Lumusa Morendenebig, he was a Dogon high priest from the village of Burkina Faso, belonging to a lineage of healers tracing their history back to the Knife Valley civilization. Now, in 1995, Prophet Nebnaba embarked on a journey across the globe after receiving the blessings from the Golma royalties, the dignitaries and the traditional temples, and the grand divinities of the Kemet. Now, Nebnaba's mission was to bring the knowledge of the existing Kemetic temple to the general public for the benefit of humanity. He saw the state that we was in, and as custodian, really, who they're really right to put us back on the right path. That was his aim was to try to redirect humanity back on the path that they should be. So Nebnaba opened the first Earth Center school in Chicago in 1995, where he began to take people through the initiatic process. Now, the Earth Center began to grow as a result, as the demand for this authentic knowledge increased. After his transition in 2008, we refer to him as the Makaru, which we know as the truth teller. And after his transition, his son Naba Irita Shamira continued to expand the work of Master Naba to us here in the UK and across the globe. There are currently 9 Earth Centers, schools. We have 6 in the USA. Currently have 2 in the UK and 1 in Canada, and is slowly building up really right as they try to progress to extend the school further and further afield. Now, the Earth Center, it consists of 4 branches. The M-Time School of Kemetic Philosophy and Spirituality, where 3 subjects are taught. Now, the first subject that is taught is what they call it, the Medu, what we know as the Medu Mahit, and the Greeks, they call it the hieroglyphs. And basically, this is humanity's original first language, yeah, that was given to the planet. And this language is what they will call the hieroglyph. Now, the Medu Ma'it, this, in learning it, it helps to stimulate the brain and enables you to use more more than 10% capacity of your brain, which the English dialect, basically, that's what it does. It limits you to using 10%. Where when we speak the Medu Bait, it allows you to kind of say to expand your brain and basically use up more of your brain capacity, because I mean the fact that if you was given a full 100% brain, there's no reason why we shouldn't be utilizing the fullness of it. And but because of the language that we're speaking, it actually dumbs down the brain and limits you really to how far we can use that. So that's what the Medu Mai does. The next class is the Katibi. Now in this class we do meditation and yoga. This class we learn about the cosmogony, which is basically about the creation story, of how creation came into existence, how we as humanity came into existence, as opposed to what they give you in the Bible. You learn the full truth about how we came to be. In the same Katibi class, we learn prayers which are more than 75,000 years old. And these prayers, we use them when we do our daily Zemzem, our ancestral holy day. So these prayers are we recite them in the Medu language. The third class is Sunt, and this is the Sunt class is for our well-being. Here we learn how the body functions from a traditional perspective, and the techniques of assessing and diagnosing the body, as opposed to what the Western society will teach us, really, right? This is completely a different way, really, like of us kind of understanding the body. And you know, our ancestors, they basically they studied all this for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah, so this is not like something that, you know, we just pick up, really, right? It's something that they've looked into and they've had time, really, right, to go through things in a holistic way, as opposed to the way that modern society would heal us. The third part is we have the Firefly production, which this is the publishing side of things. This is where we do. This is where we all our publishing information is disseminated. Yeah. So here we have the philosophy podium, which this is a book written by Nebnaba himself. In this book, really, is a lot of what we go through in initiation is actually within the philosophy podium. It's a very extensive book to read, and it's the first and original book actually written by a Dogon, as opposed to things out there that's been given to us, really, like from second hand. We also have like the Hej Patah, and this is like an initiate book of initiate tales. As you know, more or less every week we probably will do a reading from the Hej Patah itself, and you know, over the weeks and the months that we've been doing it, I'm sure you will probably appreciate some of the story tales there, really, right, because they're easy to kind of relate to our lives. You know, it's a very, very nice book, easy book, even for the children to you know, it's a book that you can give to your children to read, you know, because it would open up their mind and their thinking and give them a lot of understanding. It's like where they used to have the Nancy stories. It's a similar kind of tales that they have in this book. There's also the Sunnyside magazine, which again, in the Sunnyside, there's a lot of articles in there written by initiates. Some also is written by Neb Nubber himself, and again, they're very interesting magazines really to read. They have a lot of information in there really that would edify you. There's also the Firefly magazines. That's similar to the Sunnyside, but it's more like a newspaper kind of a magazine. Now we have one of the most important parts of our spiritual guidance, which is the code of human behavior, and this is what we call like the 77 commandment, and this is our guideline that we use as initiates really to help us to stay on the path. Yeah. So this is where like the 10 Commandments was taken from, or they got the idea of the 10 Commandments, so they took 10 of the commandments really, like say from the 77. And as initiates, that's what we have to follow, the 77 Commandment. We also have the Book of Purification, which in there it basically gives you, it shows you how to do your ablutions. This is before we do our daily zemzems. It takes you through the stages of how you need to prepare yourself before you can present yourself to the netters and to our ancestors. In there, it has like it's got pictograms of like the different stages of basically like of what you do. It's got like the prayers in there also, that it's written both in the Medu, and it's got like the translation into English, so you'll know what you're saying when you're reciting these prayers. That's a very good book to have, because as I said, it's got a lot of information in there really relating to how we should present ourselves really to the spirit world. We also have the mandala of Dendera, and this is like where you have like the zodiac. It's actually got a map of the sky, and it has like all the different constellations, and yeah, it's basically, this is where they took the concept of the zodiac from really. We also have the sidereal calendar. In this is the Kemetic calendar, which basically gives us our concept of where we are in time and space. It gives us like our spiritual days, where, you know, what day we should worship our ancestors, what days we should worship the divine world. It gives us like all the different netters. It gives us like the concept of what we go through, like our month is a 30-day cycle, and that's divided up into 10 days, so three what we would call decans of 10 days, and within that decan we have our ancestral days, and we have our divine holy days and our rest days. So it gives us like the right time that we should honor our ancestors, and just basically keeping in track with the celestial bodies really, like of know where we are in time and space and what to do and when to do it. The next part of the Earth Center is what they call it the Ancaster side of things, which they do like a lot of herbs, natural herbs, which is used for treating certain parts of the body, physically and spiritually. Yeah, and we have, you can get like from the Ancaster side, we get like hearth readings. You can get hearth readings, which basically you can get readings that um, tells you, will tell you about your health, about what's happening in your life. And this is done by using the earth energy channels. These are techniques that's been used and practiced for over thousands of years. So that's where you can get from the Ancaster side. They have herbs more or less for everything there, really natural herbs that you would take that don't really carry the side effects, as opposed to what Western medicine is going to be kind of giving you really to treat certain ailments out there. And the fourth side of the EC is what they call it, the Project in Merita. And here they have, well, basically what they do here is they're trying to do for self. So they're kind of installing clean water wells, really, right, where we can get clean water. They're doing farming projects. They're also doing like restorations, like on temples, and basically they're just trying to keep things in a traditional way, so that again, these were natural things that our ancestors used to do, yeah, as opposed to the GM products and things really like that that's been imposed on us now. So that's the Project in Merita. That's what that covers. We have a proverb that we would like to read out, and Claudette will read it for you. This week's proverb.
Ujjayi. The proverb of the week is better to be silent and let people wonder than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. I'll say it again. The proverb of the week is better to be silent and let people wonder than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Now we're just going to play some music, and we'll return after the music.
Ujjayi, and welcome back, yeah? We'd just like to read out some information regarding, like, say, how you can contact, like, the Earth Center and the other phone and contact numbers.
Ujjayi again, it's Claudette speaking. I'm just going to give you some of the contact details for the two schools. We have our London school, which is in Leighton. It's 21 Sunnyside Road, London E10 7BB, and the phone number is 0207 175 4144. Email address is inquiries-uk@the Earth Centre, and centre spelt with TER.org. The Facebook is the Earth Centre UK. Twitter is Hector UK. Instagram is at the Earth Centre of UK. And the website is theearthcentre.org. We also have our other school up in Coventry, and their address is 18 Biggin Hall Crescent, CV3 1GS. Phone numbers are 0247 6266 859. Also have another number 073 05 995944. And if you want to get in contact via email, it's the same as before. So I'll hand you back over to, and the most important, if you want to call up now, you can call on www.blessfm.org, and his phone number is 079 44431366. I'll say that again, 079 44431366, and that's www.blessfm.org.
Do I with my sister? Yes, we just like to take you through to this section here, really, right? Where we just wanna just have a quick discussion, really, like on destruction of the family, and basically the importance of the family structure, and our family basically is the most important component, right, of the human existence, really. And so the family is where we learn our culture and all of our principles and values, and it's the foundation for human survival, really. And we, so the system basically, they recognize the importance of the family. So when they came to Kemet, really, and saw the strength, really, like on how we were like spiritual people, they recognized, really, right, that to break us down, that there was a strong family value there, really, and spiritual value. So they recognized, really, right, that if they work on destroying that, then we would, consequently, we would crumble. So the system the system gives us all the entrapment, really, right, to try to entice us, of, turning away, to coming towards their directions, really, in trying to control us. So they would offer us like offer us the spoils of, we can acquire a big house, having a big car, all the entrapments really, right, that we seem to be gravitating towards, really. And so we give ourselves over to them, and at the cost of sacrificing some of our most precious possession, which is our children. Now, the system that they have, basically, from our children reach 6 weeks old, we're forced to register them over to the state. And when we do that, then you've actually sold your children or given the system control of your child. And so that's one of the first ways and first means of them trying to destroy the family, that we actually sign over our children to them. Yeah. So from a young age, we we give the children, they start off from sometime from 6 months old. We see that when a mother is given maternity leave, really she gets about 6 to 9 months off from work, and thereafter, because the entrapment of, like, say, you can progress, you can succeed. So we leave our children with the nanny state, the childminders. We put our children into, like, nursery schools, and at the expense of them educating and implementing their values, their education system on our children. So while you're busy out there working, your children is being controlled and conditioned by someone else. Our children are out there, they're put into the education system, right, where they are grown to achieve the goals of the system, and consequently, the goals and the ambition that they aspire to, most of the time it leads to self-destruction, and the family values are broken up and taken away. So our children are left. They are left there, really, to basically self-manage themselves, really, right? Because the mothers and fathers are out there working, and while they're busy out there working, the children are left idle to do what they want. So there is no supervision there for them. So, this is the entrapment, really, right, that they give us, that in order to be successful, and everybody wants to be successful, because this is that's the standards, the values that they actually, the targets that they set in front of us, that in order for you to be successful, you got to hand your children over to the state, and we do that willingly, thinking, really, right, that what we're actually getting financially when we do go out there and work, basically is just going straight back to the system. So what we find out, really, is that where the mother and the father is out there working, our children are being controlled economically. We're financially, we're no better off, because the taxation and everything within the system, that money goes straight back to them. Yeah. So what we find is, like, from our children are in primary school, like, they are assessed for social and physical and mental development. They're collecting data on our children, and it's used to profile them, really, right? And this is where, in the profiling process, they actually place our children in the position in society that they want our children to be. So we are just like a working class, basically, for the system, where we're there to serve them, and at the expense of our family. Yeah. And without the family structure, the children, they don't really, if the parents are not there, they've got nothing, basically, really, to see, to get their values from, because there's no one there, there's nothing for them to learn. And we see, like, even from a young age, they're imposing on our children this the concept of gender free. You know, you can be what you want, you can be who you want to be. And so even now, you're not in the position to oppose. You can't take your child away from that now. I think there's a law now, right, that is compulsory that they can subject your children to go through all those things, and you've got no say. So the dumbing down their values, really, right, is being taken away. Yeah. And so our children, they become confused because they don't know the roles that they should be playing, and what's expected of them. Um, Women, they are weakened to turn against the family, and consequently, the men becomes unstable because society, like, they recognize that the woman is the strength behind the family. Yeah. Um, so she's the one that is a nurturer. She's the one usually that would be there, really, right, to actually implement into our children, really, the values, um, while the man would be out there working. So they recognize, really, right, by basically imposing on the woman and subjecting her, really, right, to this Western mindset of thinking, then, well, everything just falls into place for them, really. We have a statistic out there where, because of the pressure that they put on men out there, really, is like, we see it in our young children out there, where the young male, where they from the age of, say, up to when they reach the secondary school, they're usually, like, performing quite well. And by the time they reach to that stage, then they start to kind of degenerate, to go downhill. And consequently, a lot of our children, they're leaving school with low self-esteem, no sense of value. They just don't feel like they can fit into this system here. They see their white counterpart really are being more successful than them. So, what we see out there now is that more and more of our men, young men, are actually more likely to commit suicide and more likely to end up in these mental institutions, really. And again, to be subjected to a lot of these chemical drugs that they're actually imposing on them, that's actually sedating them, and leaving them kind of, well, outside of themselves. Now, when we compare and look at, like, say, Kemetic culture, the tradition is based on preserving the family. Um, it's all about, like, say, the family, right? Because they recognize, really, right, that the family is the foundation, really, right, for us to go forward. And we spoke earlier on about, like, healing and things like that, right, where we see where the information is passed from father to son, and if there is no father and son to pass information on to, then we can see, right, where we're collapsing on ourselves, because where there is no family, there's nothing to pass on, to pass down, so that continuation is there. So in the Kemetic tradition, really, it is all about preserving the family, um, the concept of, everyone in the family basically has a part to play. There is no competition, really, competing like men against women, anything like that. It's the mother has a role to play, the father has a role to play. Everybody plays their role. So, here in the West, it's you have men competing against women for job positions. As I said earlier on, at the detriment of their family. Um, as I say, in the tradition, everyone is doing their part to strengthen the family. It's about taking responsibility, knowing what you have to achieve. It's about it's about the child. Yeah, the in this society, it's you meet someone and they use this concept, this term about love. In the tradition, it's not about love. It's about the family. You know, it doesn't mean to say that love doesn't exist there. It does, but the focus really is about keeping the family together, right? And our culture is on a spiritual. Is a spiritual thing. It's about dealing with the blood, the continuation of the bloodline. We recognize really right that there's two paths that we follow, and one is our bloodline, and one is our destiny line. Now, our mother would be our destiny. She's the one really like that actually plot and negotiate what your destiny is here. So whereas the father, he is like, that's where the bloodline goes through. So like where we do like spiritual work, when we want to connect back to the ancestors, it's through the bloodline that we use really to find ourselves. So, for example, in the culture, if two people was to be together, say the woman was going to be leaving, she wants to go her own way, then usually the children is given over to the man, because it's about protecting the bloodline. And there are still certain, I think, in the Muslim, there's certain culture out there that I think it's Arabs or something like that. I think they still, where the man, the bloodline would still take the responsibility of looking after the children. Now, the education given to our children from an early age, again, as I said, really, it's about being gender free. They teach our children about same-sex relationships. It's creating confusion of who they are and the roles that they should be playing. Again, it's going to lead to destruction of the family. Hence, we hear about this population control, and this is one of the ways that they use really to try to control the population. And we know that our race is being targeted really where we are. They're coming into Africa there and trying to impose same-sex relationships and that kind of stuff there, which is not, one of our commandments that we have in the 77 is thou shalt not sin against nature with one's own kind. And so it's clear by the commandments that we follow that although Western society kind of for them really right, that's a normal thing. We know that in nature, it's not like something that we should be advocating, really. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know if one of my sisters would have anything to add on to the as a mother, being out there really right and seeing how your children are being taken over, like you having to go out and work. How does it feel really when you go out there and you're competing in the workplace really? Claudette, would you like to say something?
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening out there, and we are being every day. The system is taking everything away from our families, and the constant separation of keeping parents working, and our children are suffering. The school system is, we are just not there for our children, and they're suffering too. So it's really being aware of getting in touch back with our children and spending time with our children. When they come home from school, ask them, how's their day been? Sit down and ask them, is there any problems, anything, you know, because it's that communication, and that's what the system wants. It wants to separate us, and when it continues doing that, our children are becoming lost. So, you know, it's really is time for us to really sit down with our children and start to, you know, ask them question. What is your day about? How's your day been? You know, what problems have you encountered? And bringing back that connection that is needed with us. You know, so, you know, even from a Kemetic point of view, it is all about family, and, you know, the respect for our elders, going down to our mothers, the children. Everyone's got their role.
Yeah, and it's important, really. Chamisa, you want to stop something? Yeah, so it is about the family, and trying to kind of say maintain, because our culture is very strong spiritually based. Yeah, and here in the West, we're given like religions to follow, which the values that we see in religion, really, right? They kill in the name of their gods. Well, in the tradition, really, that's not something that is the done deal, really. It's about preserving life. Yeah, and so from a young age, our children are put through initiation. And, you know, for us here, really, right, as adults, and we're going through our initiation, we're beginning to learn certain values and things, really, like that from a young age. What we're actually learning now, our children would have been taught that. So by the time they become, like, say, teenagers of, you know, certain age, like 14, 15, that kind of age, their values, their sense of purpose, what they should be doing, all these things would have been implemented. And so there will be no need, you know, they would have a direction, really.
Well, what you find often is that our children, you was talking earlier on in relation to our children going through initiation in the culture. In the West, the children do go through their own initiation, but this initiation is usually placed on them by the TV. It's like a culture based, you know, the mother uses it as a babysitting service for the children to, you know, while she's watching soap operas, the children are watching all kind of nonsense on the TV. They're also initiated in, by the time they get to the teenager, not even teenager these days, we've gotten a lot of children who are joining gangs because they're all looking for a culture, they're all looking for some kind of stability and grounding. Just like we as adults always searching, the children also searching, and they're looking to us as the adults for guidance. And if we ourselves as parents are lost, so how can we actually, you know, what can we teach them when we ourselves don't know? And I think it's joining the organization and being in M-Time, you realize how much we really don't know, and the nonsense that we've probably been passing on to our children, and this is going from generation to generation, from our parents and their parents and their parents and so forth. I mean, today I was looking at WhatsApp and loads of children are going missing. And what is that all about? You know, our little babies are going missing. People are taking them, gangs are taking them. You know, there's like they're not safe no more. So the values definitely is a miss. The values have been dictated to us by society.
Yes, and, you know, I also agree with Tamisha, because, you know, the more we are doing our learning, our initiation, the more knowledge we are getting. And it just seems more profound now that, you know, how much the system is really breaking us up. And, you know, we have to start thinking about ourselves and who we are, and the dictatorship of what's going on, you know, with our people. It's really strong, and it's so strong that we don't even want to acknowledge that there's other sources of information out there. So, you know, with the Earth Center, you'll get that, and you'll start to realize how much, you know, we are really broken. So we want to get back to being as one. We want to get back being as a family, you know, and start to be connected back with our children. So.
Yeah, do our my sisters. Yeah, we can probably continue this look later on, We would just like to link up. We've got like a overseas initiate from the
Canada.
Canada, from Montreal. Like to say Hujahi Sen. Could you hear us?
Ujai, Ujai, sen.
Okay, so you're live on here now, really. We just like to. This is
Hey, how is this?
Would you like to introduce yourself, Sen?
Yes, my name is Satioti Bumatem, and I'm from the Bumatem generation, like first initiate from the Bumatem generation. So I'm the head mayor of the MCAM Canada School.
And
So I'm very glad to be here. So hope that everyone is doing okay.
yeah, well, yeah, we just say like welcome to the for giving us your time for one. Really, like I know that you're quite busy, really. So we just like to say greet you to the Wisdom of the Nile show, and being a fellow initiate as well. You know, you're here helping us really, right, to disseminate to the listeners really like the point well, what is initiation and the value in what we actually get from being initiates really. So, if you'd like to kind of just give us well, just ask you a few questions, like what made you kind of and how did you find out about the Health Center to want to become like an initiate?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, first of all, I would like just to excuse myself because my English is maybe not that good, so I'll do my best to make sure that I make myself understandable. Yeah, we were like in a group in Montreal, so we were like, trying to find ourselves into this spiritual market that we have out there. And yeah, one day there's a brother that show up with the information of the Earth Center. His name is Oliver. And yeah, after a while we gather and Hatini Naba. Irita came with Hatini Nikitem and Hatini Nehez for a visit. And then after I read the book of Eshta, there were in it like many stories that are related to because my grandmother when I was younger used to tell us stories that were kind of similar. And from that I was like, okay, if I can find what my grandmother used to teach me when I was younger in those stories, so it might be a good thing to, I mean, to try out to see what I can get from that because previous to that I went to many different type of spirituality. So I used to study with different people of what so-called Kemetic or Christianity and Islam and all kind of stuff. So I still needed something that can answer me regarding my ancestries and stuff like that. But so far, it is the only the only path that really can answer to the many questions that I had regarding my ancestors and stuff like that. So in terms of knowledge that I received to the initiation, for now for me, there's no equal nowhere else. So it's why I'm still you know I'm still in that path because yeah, the knowledge that have been shared through Master Yorita was really profitable for our life right now. So yeah,
And your name is Satahuti.
S- yes.
And so, could you like to just give us like a breakdown of your, because obviously that's your first name, so you could just give us like your generation name and just if you have a breakdown of what it actually means, because I think the listeners might be interested really that when you get
Mm-hmm.
when you graduate, we are given these special names, and they're not just names that you just pick out of a hat like that. They go
Yeah.
through a process of finding out who we were, So I'm sure the listeners would like to know who you were before you come back again. This name that you're carrying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. I mean, after like being through the per ink level and the initiation, so as usual, so we pass through this nature of energy that the earth reveals, what energy that we came from at the beginning when we were born, so what our energy express, and what my energy was expressing when I came into the realms of life was Satioti. That mean the son of Teoti, or the one that's following the path of Teoti.
Mm.
So basically, it's what it means. And yeah, Teoti, the divinity Teoti, is one of the divinity and cosmogony that's really very important. I mean, to know his role, what it is all about. So what's been teaching in the M-Tam philosophy, so is that Teoti is the divinity that brought us the 77 commandments,
Yeah.
so the code of conduct to humanity. So this code of conduct, while our ancestors take an oath to follow, like to be able to go closer to the divinities, so to make sure that humanity will stay on an uphill path to rise up, so that we will not falling back to barbarisms and all kind of misbehave. So actually, yeah, TOT, it is the teacher God. It is the scribes of the divinity world, and yeah, as well, it is the one that actually has it been said in his own speech, like no, nothing goes up, nothing goes down without passing through him.
Mm.
So there's a lot of like knowledge to, I mean, a lot of study to do regarding the divinity of TOT. So I mean, I'm like grateful to to express that my energy express.
Yeah. Strong
Uh,
energy. Yeah.
yeah, but that's put like the
The
what I can
pressure.
say, that the challenge, the pressure. Yeah, to elevate myself to those qualities.
Yeah, but
So
as I say, you must have a goal, though, innit? So that's a good goal to aspire after, isn't it? Really, set your height,
yeah,
set it high, very high.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for sure. When I'm looking at myself now, and I'm like, okay, so I gotta keep myself on track, because there's a lot of work to do to reflect the part of the divinity theoti. So it's really like I cannot even say that it's a honor, because it's really bigger than that.
Mm.
So we really have, I mean, I have to, yeah, to work to elevate myself on this uphill path to really like one day be able to reflect really the part of this divinity.
So how long have you been an initiate then?
It's now 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been 2 years. So we've been graduate last summer.
Mm-hmm. So how
Yeah,
did you
so
find the journey? Did you struggle, or was the information, how has it impacted on you, like knowing what you know now?
I mean, personally, it's really how can I say that? It's really an uplifting journey, and it's hard. Like, yeah, it's not easy. It's yeah, there's a lot of things to manage. There's a lot of questions that needs to be asked and answered. There's a lot of adaptation,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and as a head mayor, I'm like, dealing with different kind of people, different kinds of energies, and different people who have different goals, and that can be from different background.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not an easy part, but it is worth it for what it's bring, the clarity that's bring to our life. the discipline, So yeah,
And being the mayor is a responsibility as well, really, isn't it?
it's a huge responsibility that being responsible for for school, but for the spiritual part of our own and other, and being responsible for it's a lot of responsibility. But as I said, that's from what we say, that's from the character, that's from the that's from the character that's make you stay on track and being, because you're always what's on the spot, because anything happen, you're the one that's been on the spot all the time, so that force you to be,
Be
to
on your
get
guard.
yourself
Yeah.
together and do.
My
You
sister
J-
would like to ask you a
Yes,
question.
you Jai,
yes,
brother and sister
Jay.
Tumishe. Um, just wanted to find out a little bit more about what's happening in Canada at the moment in the Earth Center. What kind of programs are you involved in at
Yeah,
the moment?
for now we are looking forward to open maybe our second school in Toronto.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we are now in contact with different people in Toronto. So now we are sending them flyers and documentation for them to be able to spread the information there. And eventually we will have to travel there to see, or it's going to meet the people there and to see the possibilities of opening a second school in Canada.
Mhm.
And for now, to what happening here is like there's the the second generation they are waiting for their graduation. So we will see with Ateni Nabayirita how that will go when you will be there
So, are you the
this
first
June.
gen? Are you the first gen from Montreal there?
Yeah, we're the first generation from Canada.
What
Yes.
what is the interest? How are people taken to the information that's been given in relation to the Earth Center?
Yeah, for the experience that I have with the people when we are talking about the Earth Center and the concept that we learn from the Earth Center, they are really interested and they are really captivated by it. It's just like because it is things that they most of the time they didn't heard it that way before, and but people in Canada they're like, okay, if something's been done now they'll be ready to join and everything. But now there's more and more people that are looking for us and writings and stuff like that, and especially regarding like Ancaster, I know there's a lot of people that are interested now more and more to know what we're doing in term of healing and stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
But we are now planning to do more not event but more promotion with the first and second generation that are there now. So people are responding well. Is more except to us to really like push more on the promotion.
Right, right. Oh, that's great. It seems like you're doing a lot of hard work out there, and it's, as you said, it's very rewarding.
Hmm.
Yeah. What has been the most challenging thing for you since being an
So,
initiate? What is
sorry, I didn't hear
I said,
you.
what's been the most challenging? What's
The
the most
most
challenging for
challenging,
you since joining the Earth
hmm
Center?
for me, the most challenging, like personally, was like really dealing with different people, because I'm like kind of person that most of the time like to do things alone. So I had to really adjust myself, like to be able to work with other people. But in terms of the initiation himself was really the schedule, because we have to adapt our schedule many times to to the initiation, to find a way to have this cohesion for us to be able to follow and to, yeah, until our graduation.
Oh wow.
But after that, an individual and personal plane, it's really like, keep in mind all the time the principles that not to be breached. So that's something though.
It's
Yeah,
not
the
easy, is it?
77 is not easy to follow, is it?
Man, that's something because
Yeah.
it's like just you just read something and you just turn around and like, okay, let me read back again because I think by the way that you just turn it back, you just yeah, I just
It,
break it. So yeah.
yeah, it definitely keeps you on point, doesn't it? Brings you back
Yeah.
and challenge the areas that you feel that you don't want to challenge normally, you don't want to deal with. I found the initiation just drags it out of you, forces you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it drives you out your comfort zone for sure. And to be at certain point, to be at every moment and every second thinking about like elevation.
Yes,
And
definitely. Hmm.
one of the one of the hardest part is like when you're going out there, like working with other people
Yes.
out there in the public. So just keeping in mind that you have like things to remember, you have like principles to to follow and stuff like that. So it's not easy at all because like they don't know about those, and following the calendar mix up with these like Roman calendar,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
another challenge as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is like a personal question. Was you born in Canada or was you born somewhere else?
No, I born in 80 actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's
So
something
yeah,
about
I'm
that you
from
was
8.
born like so you understand about the voodoo kind of concept there?
Yes, actually, I've been raised when I was, because I came in Canada at the age of 9, and then I went back like several times. But I was born and raised in the Vodou culture, so what we call a perisil, what it is like a Vodou temple before I came to Canada. So yeah, this is something that I'm really familiar with.
Wow. You were gonna.
So y- what could you tell us? I mean, I've got some information here. Like I don't know, someone gave us a little bit of information as to
S-
you. What was it? It was linked to the indigenous Indians of the Canadian and was
Yeah,
presented with. Yeah, could you explain a little bit about that and what?
I'm not sure I understand clearly what you're saying.
No, my understanding is that he was linked with the indigenous Indians of the Canadians.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was presented when I was present when the 18 people were given by the Indians recognition as indigenous groups.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that? And could you expound a little bit on that?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, because there were many people. There's another sister too that she is part of my generation too, who was there too. It's sister Kanyasta. So we went there because it was the first time that there's another
Did you say
nation. I
Canada?
mean, talking about the Asian nation that ask and inform the indigenous people that okay, so we're there, and asking them permission to be in the land and like physically and spiritually to do a work and to have this link with them. And they were really happy about it because they say that for centuries, like it is the first time that another nation really like come to them and really formally ask them to a permission and not just being there and living there without acknowledging them. So from that there was a ceremony that been done, like kind of adaptation adoption ceremony where they really like officially uh like for say accepting us like
So you've
part
been
of the
recognized really as.
recognize exactly that we were there. And since then, almost every year, so we try our best to go back there with them and participating on in their like spiritual work as well, and being the most supportive that we can, like for them and then for us too.
So what kind of a ceremony was that though? Was it like from,
Mm,
was it from a traditional, or was it from like a European kind of, was it?
yeah, it was like an traditional Algonquin ceremony mixed with the traditional Asian voodoo ceremony.
Mm.
So that just gathered this link.
In Canada.
Yeah.
Can I ask in relation to, I mean, you've grown up, spent a number of years in Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
where I've always known it to be like this is where voodoo really, practices. How is that compared with
Mm-hmm.
the teachings of the Earth Center? Um,
Mm-hmm.
what do you see? Is there any similarities or?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. There's a lot of similarity, but in the Asian voodoo, like right now, the thing is that we still have this maroon mentality
Sorry,
and the
what
voodoo,
mentality?
because we're doing thing like for say uh, a way that where we had to hide from the colonial system.
Uh huh.
So we still do a thing with a certain, like, let's say, a way of saying things, the way of certain picture that we say using in the voodoo. That's for say there was it was they were good for us to survive because we were like in the well, say marronage, but because we were hiding from the colonial system, so we were like faking certain things because to let them know that we are praying their God while we're doing our things and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the major difference too for now it is in the earth centers is that we have really like a way to express really better the ancestral ways.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
Mm-hmm.
we have a way like to, let's say, the theory of thing, like a way to teach it. But and the voodoo is really like for say, yeah, there's some teaching that's happening, but as I'm saying, it's not like really open with the same way that the knowledge has been brought in the Earth Center. Is really like a big difference. It's really more clear, more uh,
Mm.
comprehensive, for say.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people tend to kind of, when they hear the word voodoo or voodoo, yeah, just kind of look at it as to say it was something bad, and they
Hmm.
don't really appreciate and understand that it's actually a spiritual kind of a thing. Could you just,
Hmm.
your understanding of it, just, because as I said, like, a lot of our people them out here, from you mentioned that, oh, no, 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 you shouldn't touch that, you shouldn't go nowhere near that,
Hmm.
with a lack of knowledge and understanding. Just
Yeah.
just give like a just slight little overview, like to let people understand that where they go into church, really, right, that's dealing with religion, but this was all spiritual things that you're talking about there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a word of Michael, that said, um, if you go back to pray the gods, let's say, of the oppressor, the one that, I mean, try to kill you or kill your grandparents, and
Mm-hmm.
the one that, trying to eliminate you, and you're still going back to him to be fed, like spiritually or physically, that means you're in great danger, right?
Yeah.
That's a,
So actually, people that seeing voodoo has a negative thing, maybe it's because they're watching too much TV, because and maybe they might question themselves and go and see for themselves. I mean, what it is, what it's all about, and what's the teaching behind it. Because voodoo actually, there's, you know, cannot be. I mean, for me as an Asian, there's no way that voodoo can be a negative thing. No, anything that is bring knowledge and my spiritual path to show me how to free myself first from corruption, from colonialism, and from everything that are in place to destroy me. I mean, cannot be a bad thing. And spiritually, people most of the time that I heard that's talking bad about voodoo and stuff like that is really because they don't know what it is about. They just referring to what uh, other people might say or what they saw on TVs, and what Hollywood would present to them.
That's right.
Most of the time this is where they get their information. But yeah, so voodoo it's really something based really on knowledge. Really, it's nothing like believing like we'll find in Christianity or other type of Islamic religion that's just trying to indoctrinate people and make them believe in certain things that you cannot find in reality. Because and voodoo, this is the similarity that I find on what I know from the voodoo and the teaching that I receive in the Earth Center. It is everything is based on nature.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I mean, as you say, it's connecting us back to nature, really, right? And like, as we said before, the education that is given to our children and everything else, it's
Hmm.
basically anything positive to uplift us, to elevate us for who we were. They put a negative twist on it, really. And so, I know in Jamaica, like where I come from, they really, from you say that, people automatically kind of say, look at it as something bad. And as you say, this is how they keep us away from going forward within
Hmm.
ourselves. But I was speaking to you earlier on, and you was saying about you have a project, you're trying to do something to help the children or something like that.
Yeah, there's a summer camp that we are now I'm promoting, and we're trying to have some kids coming around the Earth Center that we can expose them to the knowledge that we receive in the Earth Center.
Mm-hmm.
But like anything that we are trying to do for our own good, there's always some challenges. But yeah, this is a program that we're trying to do this summer. We're trying to start it to see how it will go for the next years. So it's really have to have around 10 to 20 kids
So
and
what
to
kind
do
of
some
age group?
active. Sorry,
What kind of age group are you referring to there, though?
sorry, I didn't hear.
The
What
the,
kind
the,
of what?
the age group. What kind of age
The
group?
age? Yeah, it's between 7 to 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really between 7 to 12, and yeah, we're having a programmation that different activities that we can do with them, and especially there's these uh, daily activities that we call living like a pharaoh. That is really in these 2 hours of time that we are going to like seeing with them the way like to do purification, ablution, and knowing more about like the Kemetic spiritual style of life. And yeah, it's really like to expose a maximum of the young out there to the knowledge that we're receiving at the center.
And how long is that program? How long do you intend it to run for?
It will start on June 23rd
Mm-hmm.
until it's 9 weeks.
Oh, 9 weeks
So it start
program.
on June 23rd and yeah till August 24th, I think. Yeah.
Are these initiates children or?
Yeah, it's open obviously for initiate children, but in Montreal there's not a lot of initiate that have children
Okay.
beside of me having like two, but it's open to all the children.
It's very good if you can get parents to encourage parents to actually let their children and engage in such a program. That's fantastic. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, most of the parents that now calling us is all we who already like register their children is people that first say that we know personally and they have really no problem with that. But the other ones, we will see that what the reaction will be since that is the first time that we're doing it. So we will like see what the reaction will be.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
good. That's
Hmm.
quite good.
Yeah.
So, and you see, you've got about 20 children signed up already for it then?
No, for now we didn't have the 20 yet. We are like having now around six,
Mm-hmm.
but we're expecting to have the program was made for uh, to 10 to 20 kids. But by the time that we reach maybe at the end of the month, we wish that to have at least the minimum of 10. But really, we build it up to have 10 to 20.
But you'll still start, whether or not you reach that goal, you will still start the program with whatever children you have then.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite good because, as you say, really, the basic really is just just learning how to clean yourself and to how to present yourself really, which we're not taught those values within the Western society. It's you get up out of bed and you
Mhm.
just jump out of bed really right and put your clothes on and you're out there really right and that's the way. That's
Yeah.
the way. And then we wonder why things is not happening for us. Really, is because you
And
know.
really, my motivation came from like this those words that I heard in one of the classes that we received from Nebna Bayurita, where when he said that, I mean, it is except to us to build the world that we wanted to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
like knowing that, I mean, me now at the age that 43, I might have maybe, I don't know, 20 more years or whatever, maybe another 40 years, but those kids, they have like way longer life to live than me. So if we can expose them now, so really there will be like greater work that will be done with them than I. So, yeah.
But as you say though, that is the age. Back in Merita, they would be starting the initiation from those age.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's you're just basically continuing what was done or what is still being done.
Mm-hmm.
In,
Exactly. So in
yeah.
the way like to respect really what the tradition already presented.
So is this something that's going to be done in the EC or like on a different location away from initiations, kind of?
Hopefully that will be successful enough to motivate other initiate and other schools to take action on that. So since that is the first time that's been presented, so we'll do our best to really like make it as an example to the others that they may really follow, yeah, this step of it.
I suppose if it takes off, it's something that you could probably even extend into the schools as well, really, isn't it?
Once they get
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
excellent, the positive peer pressure
Because
for the children is excellent. I was saying it's positive peer pressure. This is a positive, they're getting so much peer pressure out there. So if you have a group of young
mhm,
people who are together doing something
mhm.
positive, it's excellent for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yes,
And
my
I
bro.
know.
Sorry.
Mhm. No, no,
What
go
was you?
ahead.
No, what was you gonna say? Sorry, go on.
No, I was saying that I know there's yeah, there's a sister that from UK. I think actually, yeah, that's called me to know like to have more information about it. That I was supposed to talk with her like soon
Mm-hmm.
to give more information. And that there's a website as well that you can go and the information all there in French, but I'll eventually put them in English too, that make it easier for everyone to get the information from the Mizrakim.
What's the website called?
It's Mizrakim. I mean, the website is www.campmezra, CAMPMEZRA
Sorry, could you say that
dot
again,
com.
please?
Hmm?
Could you spell that again?
Yeah, it's Camp Mezra. So www dot campmezra.com.
Okay, Camp Mesra.
Mesra, yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, let's have a look at that really and see what your program. It sounds like a good program. And yeah, but I mean, we're running out of time still now. But I mean, we just give you the opportunity to say a few passing words of enlightenment to anyone listening out there as an encouragement from just
Yes.
something that you
I mean,
can.
for yes, thank you. Well, so for all of those that listening, the part of really honoring our ancestors and reclaiming, the values of our traditions and values. So it is really like a rebirth, So
Hmm.
I really encourage like anyone that wanted to get in touch with that knowledge and that way of living, to I mean really contact any one of the earth sensors. Because as the macro said, I mean, the sun never said it is human that run away from the light. So it
Hmm.
is maybe the time for us to come back
Hmm.
to our enlightenment under the umbrella of or the knowledge of our ancestors.
Hmm. And my sisters, if any parting word, anything directly that you would like to say to
No, I just
Sartuti?
it's been a very interesting uh, interview with you, my brother, and I think the work that you're doing with the youths out in Canada is excellent. And yeah, just wa'u for your hard work. Um,
Yeah, and we just say dua as well, like for giving us your time. I know you was busy, so we appreciate really like taking time out
Yeah,
to
dua to you too. So it's
yeah to help us to kind of help help the listeners out there really, and those who would like to follow on the path that we're trying to continue on. Yeah,
mhm.
so enough love and respect to you and your family and all the fellow initiate there in Montreal, and hope one day that we would all meet up together as a family and
Merita.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so dua to you for inviting me, and yeah, say ujai to the family over there in UJ too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nini, yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, Odieru.
J'entends dans ta cora, parfois même ta colère. J'entends dans ta cora ton cœur qui bat, mon frère. J'entends dans ta cora toute l'humilité, à la verticale, dans l'immensité. Mani to mani, tous ensemble. Mani to mani, mani to mani, mani to mani, mani to mani. J'entends dans ta cora l'enfant qui part en guerre. Mani to mani.
Ujjayi, and welcome back, really, right, to the Wisdom of the Nile show. And I'm the Hipster, and I would just like to read out the information of how you can contact the Health Center. And our phone number is 0207 175 4144. I repeat, 0207 175 4144. You can get us on the email, which is, hold on, I haven't got the one for that. I'll come back to you on that one there. The Facebook is the Earth Center, UK. On Twitter is Kebtah, KEBTAH UK. On Instagram at the Earth Center of UK. And the website is the earthcenter.org. The email address is inquiriesuk@theearthcenter.org. And center is spelled TER. We'd just like to read out the proverb. What was the proverb again? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but the proverb, yeah, we just misplaced it. Yeah, it's better to be silent and let people wonder than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And so that's the reason why I didn't want to say anything until I knew what I was saying. Yeah, and so we on this segment of the show now, really, yeah, it's the initiate space, yeah, and we've interviewed her once already, but you know she's on a journey, and we would just like to have a follow up, really, right, and just to see like how she's actually progressing further on her journey, really, which is it's an uphill journey, but she's still there on the journey, and I would just like to hand you over to Claudette, who would just give us a few words of what she's actually doing.
Ujjayi, this is Claudette. I've been an initiate since August 2017, and I'm still on my journey, which is an uphill journey. And I had the opportunity to do my exams the ending of last year, and it was really a struggle, and I didn't pass, and I feel I wasn't ready at the time. And now I'm in generation 5. I was in generation 4 before, so now I am now redoing the knowledge, and now the knowledge is really now starting to sink in. And now I can really appreciate the learning, and I have more of a better understanding, and it is truly amazing, the information, because now I can start to relate it and put it into my life, and start to live that life of a chem. So one of my major struggles was obviously, studying, and, doing a lot of reading and writing, and using your own experiences to build up your knowledge as well. So that was one of my major struggles. It still is, but it's getting easier. And I wasn't one as an academic. I was more of a practical person. So maybe that is also my journey as well, to become more academic. But as my journey has gone on, I used to be a bus driver for about 11 years, and now I have stopped, and now I'm on a path of doing my true work, which I more or less started 20 years ago. um, and that work is a doula. Now, you might not have heard this term, a doula, but it basically means it's a woman who provides emotional, practical help for women who are pregnant and on their journey to become a mother. And what she does, she's basically being that support and give women information and choices about how they want to birth their babies. Now, we know the system is against us because as we learn at the Earth Centre, we're supposed to be preserving nature, and most of our women are not having natural births. So you can see now how me studying at the Earth Centre now is coming in conjunction with my, I would say it's my sole purpose. So I would say basically I'm now on a more spiritual journey, and this spiritual journey is coming together with what I really want to teach women out there, that childbirth is just not physical, it's just not emotional, it's so much spiritual. And now having the understanding that we are now bringing back our ancestors back, and the women have to be so educated in that. It's such a deep connection that we've missed it. We're not connected, you know. And it's that belief that we are pregnant and we're bringing a child into the world. No, it's our ancestors are coming back, and having that connection, knowing that it's an ancestor coming back, we have to take more care of ourselves, you know, mentally as well as physically, but now also spiritually.
Yeah, and so really, you found that your time that you've been with the EC, really right, and learning this new knowledge here, really right, is enabled you to make that connection there, really right, to combine something which is needed out there in our community.
Yes.
Really, as you say, rightfully, there it's an ancestor coming back. So, making that spiritual connection and trying to kind of say provide holistic
And understanding, understanding.
Because the medication or all the, like say, the drugs and everything that they're pumped up with, as you were saying before, that sometimes they just need to be spoken to in a spiritual kind of letting them understand.
Letting them understand, basically, you know, that it's more to just being pregnant. You are that facilitator of that human being coming into the world. And, you know, and my job is helping the woman to be at peace with herself so that she births peacefully, and, you know, and provide that environment where she's not, where the GPs, the consultants are controlling her pregnancy, controlling how she wants to birth her baby. So when you come back now to spirituality, if we are in tune with ourselves, can you imagine? We are using our own ancestral knowledge. We are using our grandmothers, our mothers, our grandmothers' knowledge. Remember, our body is intelligent. So why are we now using the medical system to birth our babies when we can birth our babies? The knowledge is inside of us. So, yeah, very empowering for me. It is really very empowering that I'm blessed that I'm on this journey. And the more that I am studying at the Earth Centre, the more the connections with, my purpose on this earth is coming more and more stronger. So, you know, I'm really appreciative of my ancestors. And now, you know, every day I feel that my grandmothers are with me, and they're helping me so much on this journey. And, you know, they're like opening doors and saying, well done, now you're here now, Claudette, continue on your journey. So, yeah, I'm very appreciative of the ancestors and, you know, and the journey that I'm on now. So, yeah, the connections are coming more and more, and I feel really blessed that I'm still on this journey.
I mean,
And
in
it's-
terms of what you're trying to offer out there, really, right, back into our community, is there anything that you hear of out there that's actually will be able to provide this holistic, spiritual kind of thing that you're going to be offering?
Well, that's the point. You don't hear nothing about that, you know, and that's where I want to come in there, because I want to offer something for our community. You know, there's really nothing out there. You're starting to hear there was debates about how black mothers are dying in childbirth, and you know that shouldn't be happening. Why is that happening? But the main thing is black women don't have a voice. We don't have a voice. We are not being listened to. So when you go into that labour room, you're really left on your own, or you've been taken over and controlled by a system that it's not benefiting us, you know. So you are left there. You haven't got a voice, and you know, it's just that is so, you know, it really saddens me. But that is where I want to now start to teach and educate our women, and to tell them that you have the power to birth how you want, and use our ancestors, our grandmothers, call on their energy to help you to move forward and to believe in yourself that you can give birth without having the technology. Believe in yourself. Use your own knowledge. Every cell in your body has its own intelligence. So, you know, it's very empowering, very empowering. So, yeah, the knowledge is, it's really connecting in every single way. And, yeah, the more I'm on this journey, you know, the more rewarding it is. So, yeah.
It's beautiful to hear what you're saying, sister, because it's so true.
Yeah.
Because even as a mother myself, I remember I was a young mum, and this kind of guidance that you would be providing would have been really important. I remember the doctors actually, it's almost like we're on a conveyor belt.
Yes.
And they're trying to rush you out and actually give you tablets to try and induce the labour.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
God is not coming yet, the child's not there, the child's not, and everything is rushed. And I remember them actually forcing a paper under me for me to sign for epidural. And I remember, as young as I was, something inside me saying, no, don't take it. Because I'd heard the stories of so many women end up paralyzed
Yes.
with
Yes.
it. And I refused to sign it. And another thing that, coming back what you're saying about the ancestors, which is so really true and so powerful, when they removed my placenta, I remember them saying, oh, what a beauty. And they picked it up and they was looking at it and said, oh, this is a beauty. And I heard a voice said, but that's mine.
Exactly.
That is all my essence that they're taking
Yes.
away. And we need to really tap back into what we need to do with that, because I know the New Age people are saying to eat the placenta. You in the Earth Center, they're against that. They're saying that is obviously that's like cannibalism. So it's miseducation. So yes, sister, you're doing very good work.
No, definitely about, you know, the placenta, you know, and they're very quick to cut the cord. You know, nowadays to have a really natural birth, you would really wait until the cord, the umbilical cord is stop pulsating, really, until all the blood has gone through, and that's when you eventually want to cut the cord. But nowadays, as soon as baby comes out, quick, they cut the cord, and a lot of the blood is, you know, what should have been gone to the baby is not, it's been cut off. And then, you know, some cases they will just take the baby away. Oh, we've got to do OBS. No,
So
give the baby to the mother.
So would you say it's a deliberate thing then that they're doing, like in disconnecting mothers from child, really, by doing it so premature?
I would say so. Yes, I would say so. You know, it's again,
Bond,
it's
isn't it?
breaking the bond. You know, and that's the thing. When you're in that environment, it is so controlled that you don't have a say. You don't. You know, and especially as a black woman, you know, if you do start to speak up, oh, she's being aggressive. Oh, she's being this and she's being that. So, you know, I really just want to empower us black women to come back and birth our babies without using intervention, and start to believe in themselves that we can give birth, and start to take care of their bodies mentally, spiritually. Because if you're not thinking about, your thoughts are so powerful that, you really have to think about how your thoughts are also developing in your baby. So whatever you're thinking, your baby's thinking it. So it is so important, and especially for our men out there, treating our black women. You have to really be thoughtful of how you are treating your woman while she's pregnant. Our emotions are they are important when it comes to the woman. She has to be at a very happy place. So stress, anger, all these negative energies will play a part in our child.
And so even, say, going through initiation and learning about emotional control,
Yes.
Strength of character and all, having that humility and all that kind of stuff there, you found that it's actually helped you to kind of say, to find your spiritual self, to recognize them,
Yes.
really, like
Yes.
where we're lacking out there, really, right? And perhaps when we look at some of our children out there, it's because of that disconnection.
That disconnection,
that we have, really,
yeah.
right? Why we can't seem to be making that bond with them, really.
Exactly.
So, it's your journey through initiation, really, as you say, it might be long, but it was probably the way it should be.
The way it should be, exactly. Yeah.
To find yourself,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
Because it's a fantastic kind of joining the two thing, like, initiation, you can see how in so much different ways. We had brother Saturuti there, his little program there of what he's learned through initiation, how it's helping to develop and can try to offer something back. And then, like, we're talking about the continuation of life here and our ancestors.
Yes.
So really, what is more important than what you're trying to offer out there, really, right? And it's taking you initiation.
It's taking me initiation, because I've had this, this dream for about 20 years. And, it's like it wasn't being fulfilled. And many people have told me that, well, you need to have some spiritual, you need to have something spiritual. You're just lacking in, you need to have some spiritual knowledge. And that's why I first came into the school, because I'm thinking, well, I haven't got no spiritual knowledge, but yet the classes back then, I've said I want to do something spiritual for for our mothers, and get them into that way of thinking, that every thought, and having that spiritual, and having your ancestors being there on your journey is so important, is so valid. So yeah.
And that's why, like, say, when we're speaking about the family and
Yes.
how the state basically, like, even from a young age, they create that disconnection from a baby
From a
to where, and
baby.
give you false ideologies for things that you go chasing the wrong things, which all the things that we're chasing out there, in our death we can't take none of those things with us.
That's
So
right.
to understand, really, right, say what we're learning here, really, it's about, like, that born and that death and that dash in the middle there is our life we're talking about. So it's about us trying to prepare ourselves for our death.
Yes.
And having that spiritual kind of awareness, really, right, to know that existence is not the end of us. And as you're saying, it's another ancestor coming back in. So what's more beautiful, that you give them like a smooth transition,
A smooth
back,
back into the world.
back into the world,
And and as you said, in the tradition, initiation, it starts from from 1 to 7 years old, and really, our child should be with the mother. That's the first. She's the first teacher. So we have to be educated in ourselves to make that bond, really special. And that's the time when, our children are really taking in information. They're like a sponge. So what more than it's the mother? Our role is so big that, we're just taking it as a pinch of salt these days. But I really want to, help that process and get mothers back into thinking that, no, we must bond with our children and be there for them, and and stop letting the system and the state take over our children and maintain disconnection.
I'm looking at you while you're speaking, it's like you're just glowing, really, right? Because when you was driving the bus, really, right, it was all sad face.
It was so sad face. No one dare look at me because of the miserable face I was showing when I'm driving that bus. Don't look at me. So yeah.
So you've actually been able to find yourself and
Yes.
something that really, right, that is meaningful, right?
Definitely.
That you can offer back to the world, back to our
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a good experience. So as you go through, really, like say in the future, you can like say another 3 months from now, you come back and give us another update, really, like on.
I will
on how
definitely
you
give you an
reached that.
update. Yeah. Yeah. Watch this space. Yes, I'll be.
Yeah, and as you see, this is what initiation, and it's been, as you said, it's been hard.
It's been hard.
But
the-
you've learned something through the process,
Yeah.
really, that you can offer back.
Definitely. And the journey had to be a hard one because obviously you've got to be tested that if this is what I want to do, you are going to be tested on it. So, even myself, I feel very passionate and very strong that I want to advocate for our black women and, and just to help them to regain their knowledge and to regain the power that they have within them. So, yeah, it's very powerful.
And anything else you'd like to add to this? Like,
I just love what you're doing, my sister. Keep up the good work.
'cause I
Okay.
mean,
And we're there through our journeys together. We're there on our journeys together. It's the same. You
Yes,
past
so-
and the past, we're going through it together.
Yeah,
So
our sister here.
We know the challenges have to be, it has to be challenging to break the what we've being conditioned for so long. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's
So,
a
but-
beautiful journey, but
yeah, it's a
Tough,
beautiful
man.
journey. So
Yeah.
watch this space, and I'm going to turn you over to my sister Tumashe, and she's going to read something. So, Irihiru.
Dua. So Tumisi would be reading. What's the title?
The title is called Solidarity, and it's from the Heshbata, Master Naba, Morendenebig's Kemetic Stories. We have to. It's called "There is nothing that exists that is useless." We have to understand that even the teachings of virtues does not guarantee the quality of the world. At every dimension of the world, there is spiritual door that we need to open if we want to access enlightenment. Every door has its own code and values. The prophet Ptah of the temple of Heptah Memsis was saying one day to a group of priests who came to visit him, I know that we have to build our pride on the morals and spiritual qualities of the world in which we live. But attention, O builders of the world, watch out. Who are teaching virtues, you are running towards a serious danger. Everyone knows how it is useful to be useful, but nobody knows how it's useful to be useless. The priest returned home troubled and later formed a committee of philosophical research, specializing in finding how useful it is to be useless. The harmony in the disorder, the goodness in the wickedness, the good in the bad, the beauty in the ugliness, etc. That committee was named Sufa. Sufa expresses the concept of the non-important that captivates the attention. It is the deformation of that name that gave birth to the Sufi philosophy that most people think comes from the Middle East. We spend our lives establishing values that become by themselves the basic of the competition amongst individuals. How many times did we try to know if our values had something to do with the reality of existence? Today is a social politics. Today it is social politics that define the values and make them to the disadvantage of our moral and psychological health. The story I'm going to tell lifts a curtain on the usefulness of an act that is strange to us. Hamoud was expected in the nearby village. His cousin had been told a few days before that he was coming today for a visit. His cousin was coming for him. He knew that the path through the African savannah was not easy to find, but Hamoud knew his bush like the back of his small hands, with fingers badly nibbled with leprosy. Yes, Hamoud is a leper. He has neither fingers nor toes, nor being able to farm. Hamoud knew that he was the burden to his family. This is why, to avoid being a heavy burden on a single household of the family, he would travel from time to time and sometimes from weeks to months. His family loves him a lot. He knew how to make them laugh. He always had a story to tell. And whenever it is not enough, he gets up and tries to mimic people who are considered normal. His small hands, almost fingerless, resembled small pebbles covered with flesh. Covered with flesh. From his feet, only the heels are left. And every time he walks, one cannot help but to think of the pestle pounding inside the mortar. Sometimes he simply looks like somebody digging a hole in the ground. Hamoud had no opinion of his destiny. He has never even seen depressed. He was what one could easily confuse with a clown or an idiot. He appeared to have difficulties understanding that life was not always a fun place. No, it's not true. Let's say that Hamoud has won his battle against unhappiness. He is not necessarily happy, but nobody knows what to say about him. Hamoud arrived in the village about 5 hours late. When his cousin, who was worried, asked him why, he answered that he had stopped on his way to help a traveller bury his dead horse. His cousin was intrigued. He was expecting anything but this answer, coming from a leprous person. It was undeniable that Hamoud could not even hold a pick or carry more sand than a 2-year-old baby. His cousin hid his intrigue behind a smile and told him while gazing at him, "Oh, Hamoud, look at yourself. You know that you cannot even hold a spoon." "I know," interrupted Hamoud. It is in a very serious tone. "I stopped to help that man cry." The cousin spent days thinking about Hamoud's answers. Not everybody knew how to fix life or even eliminate the evil that affects us. Death knocked at the doors of people that are dear to us, and we could not do anything to fix the course of destiny. For the cousin, the message that Hamoud brought was clear. We can always stop to help our neighbor cry if there is nothing else we can do for him. Hamoud never finished impressing the world. It is said that one day while he was traveling, he heard a cry for help coming from a person that was drowning in the river. Hamoud knew that he couldn't swim or even throw a rope or stick to the man that was drowning. But he stumbled to the edge of the river, and shouted to the man, "Keep your courage, I'm coming to help." Hamoud jumped in the river and tried to swim towards the man. But as soon as the man realized that Hamoud was a leper, the man gathered all his strength and swam straight towards Hamoud. When he reached Hamoud's level, he grabbed him and continued swimming towards the bank. After the man put Hamoud on the ground, Hamoud emitted a loud burp and thanked him. The man exploded in a big laugh and said, "No, it is for me to thank you. You just taught me how to swim." Everybody knows how useful it is to be in the norms that are defined by society. Maybe we should learn to recognize the usefulness of the abnormal things. We should recognize that there is nothing that exists that is it at the same time useless. The but, said my grandfather, reveals its importance only when we need to sit down. And the moral of the story is that
Is
there's so many morals. Don't take anybody for granted, and not one size don't fit all. In society, people, if you don't fit in and you don't wear the right name brand, or you don't look a certain way, then you're discarded, or if you don't speak right or act in a particular way. So it's about, there's spirit and energy in all of us, and we all have our purpose on this world, not to take anything for granted.
yeah, and that's what
Society tends to do is to kind of dumb us down, because they put. I mean, what's the difference between a road sweeper and a doctor?
Exactly. They both have a purpose, and they're both serving a need.
Yeah, because if you think of it, really, right, the road sweeper is preventing what the doctor is there to try to kind of to put right.
Yeah,
So who is more important,
exactly.
the preventative or the person who is trying to cure?
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So yeah, it's how we want to look at things, really. We've got an event and thing coming up, really. So Claudette's going to read it out to you. This event, is it from an EC event? Is it?
Yes, we have some EC events happening in Leicester, our Coventry school. Our first lecture up in Coventry is actually in Leicester, and it's called The Importance of Ancestry, and that will be on Sunday, the 26th of May. I'll just go, hold on a minute. It's called The Importance of Ancestral, and it's on Sunday, the 26th of May, between 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And it's at the Prana Caf, 10 Horsefair Street, Leicester, LE15BN. And the event costs £7. And I'll just repeat the lecture time, and it's from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. and that's on Sunday, the 26th of May. We also have other lectures coming up after that. The next one is on the Thursday, the 30th of May, between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. And this lecture is called The Science of the Dogon, Ancient Egypt. And this will be held at the Leicester African Caribbean Community Centre, Maidstone Road, Leicester, LE2DUA. Also, for next month, Saturday the 8th of June, between 6 and 9, we have a next lecture called Fundamental Principles of the Universe, and that will also be held at the Leicester African Caribbean Community Centre. And on the following Sunday, the 16th of June, you also have the Spiritual Evolution, and that lecture's between 4 and 7 p.m. And that will be actually held at the Earth Centre, Coventry, 18 Biggin Hall Crescent, Coventry, CV3 1GS. And also we have a next very big event, which is Orientation, and that's in Coventry, and that will be on Saturday, the 22nd of June, between 4 and 7 p.m. But again, if we go onto the website, all these details will be there. If you missed it this time, but if you go on to our website and also you can purchase our tickets as well, which are £7 for each event. Orientation Day is actually free, and we welcome much as possible to come and hear what we've got to say and hear the information, and you are all welcome. I'll hand you back over to my brother.
Yeah, Dua was this. Yeah, well, as you say, anything that you want to purchase, like all the products like the Edge Patar, the philosophy podiums, like we have the CDs. They're all Neb Nabba's, Master Neb Nabba, Lemusa's, Moran Denevik. These are all his lectures and things which he did on the various topics, really, like that we go through in initiations, and they're very, very, very powerful lectures that are given. I mean, if you go on the YouTube channel, you will see clips of them, but you can get the full lectures, the CDs and DVDs, and the Edge Patar Initiate book, which Chumisi, she read one of the stories from there, and more or less every week we take a story from there. As Sir Tahuti was saying, that was what he read that it inspired him to come into initiation, because they're very good stories. If you kind of sit there, they're good stories to kind of say, bedtime stories even to read to your children. Really, it's a very good book, easy reading, yeah, for those who can read. But I struggle at reading myself, so but yeah, but the books are the products could be purchased like from the temple. The Leytonstone Temple is 21 Sunnyside Road, London E10 7BB, and you can come there like on a Sunday, and make purchase the products. Really, I'll give you the phone number again, that if you want to contact or phone before you come along, is 0207 175 4144. And you can go on the website and see these products. But as I said, we offer a range of different herbs, natural herbs and things, really, for healing. All the products really out there, that the calendars, the 77, which is one of the most important things that we follow as initiates. Like the 77, the mandala, all the different products really you can get from by coming either to the Earth Center or phoning up the number that we've given.
I just want to say one more thing. I mentioned all those lectures were up in Leicester, but I forgot to mention that we have our own lectures in London, at our London school, and we have a lecture on Saturday, the 15th of June, next month, between 6:30 and 8:30, and that lecture is called "The Importance of Family: A Dogon Perspective." Now, to just remember, today we've been talking about family and how it's important. So it's a very important lecture to attend. And the event again is £7. And to get tickets, there is a website which is jus-tickets.com-events, and that will be held at 21 Sunnyside Road, Leyton, London, E10 7BB. And following that, we do have another lecture in July, which is Saturday the 13th of July, and that lecture is called Spiritual Purification and Kemetic Movements. So I apologize for that. So, but yes, London School do have our lectures as well as Coventry. So, dual for that.
Yeah, and we'd just like to say, give a thanks to all the listeners for tuning in, and we'd just like to say duawu to Sir Tahuti for giving us of his time and sharing with us some of his knowledge and some of the beautiful thing that he's going to be trying to do to help some of our young youths to go forward. And just like to say duawu to Claudette and to Missy for helping
Nini.
for helping us to kind of say to present to you the listeners what we can.
Yeah, it was an honor.
And to Bless for giving us the platform, really, like for the EC, for trying to get the information out there, really, right, and give our people out there. There's a lot of choices out there people can make, and the thing is, because there's so much to choose from, really, right, oftentimes we end up choosing the wrong thing. But from my own personal experiences, I mean, I was in that position there where I went through different steps to get to where I am now. And looking back at where I was and the information that I've got from those other places, this does supersedes everything that I've seen so far. And the only way you're going to know is to come and join the EC and go through the initiation, and then
A journey of self-discovery,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
exactly what it is. We
Yeah.
have to start knowing about ourselves
and who you are
and
your
who you
purpose.
are and your purpose
Mhm.
on this earth.
Yeah, and clearly, as you can see, Claudette has found her purpose now, really. So we would just like to say thanks to the listeners.
Thanks
and,
to the listeners,
Yeah,
and irihu to
Irihu.
everyone.
yeah, Iru.
Au-delà des désastres de nos biographies, au-dessus des murailles de nos fausses vies. Allez à vous, chantez pour voir. Mani to mani, plus fort. Mani to mani. On vous entend pas. On vous entend pas, les victoires de la musique. Mani to mani. Mani to mani. Mani to mani. Est-ce que ça va ici? J'entends dans ta cora parfois même ta colère. J'entends dans ta cora ton cœur qui bat, mon frère. J'entends dans ta cora toute l'humilité, à la verticale, dans l'immensité. Mani to mani, tous ensemble. Mani to mani, mani to mani, mani to mani, mani to mani. J'entends dans ta cora l'enfant qui part en guerre. Mani to mani. J'entends dans ta cora ton cœur qui bat, mon frère. Mani to mani. Au-delà des désastres de nos biographies, au-dessus des murailles de nos fausses vies. Allez à vous, chantez pour voir. Mani to mani, plus fort. Mani to mani.